All right, what we're covering in this section, and I know that you don't have the paper notes for this, so you're just going to kind of write this down on regular paper or just put it in your notebook after chapter 5 stuff, is we are working on adding and subtracting polynomials. So the first thing we have to know is what a like term is. Like terms are terms that have the same variable, which remember is just a letter, and the same exponent. So 5x is a like term with 2x is a like term with negative 3x. 2x squared is a like term with 5x squared, negative 2x squared, and even x squares. Because if you notice, they have the same variable, and then this one has the same variable and same exponent. Sometimes you're going to have multiple variables, so like 2x squared y, that's the same as 3x squared y, negative 5x squared y. It's even the same as 6yx squared, even though that's in a different order. All of them have x squared, all of them have y. So that's how you tell when something's a like term. Okay, there's two kind of processes we're going to work on today. We're going to start off by doing some adding. And for adding, you have to figure out what can go together. So I always start with my biggest exponent. My biggest exponent is x squared, and that can go with 5x squared. So a 2x squared and a 5x squared is a 7x squared. My next biggest one is just a regular x. A positive 3 and a negative 8 is a negative 5. And then lastly, a negative 4 and a positive 5, that's a positive 1. Okay. The next one we have is subtracting. Now, subtracting, you have to be very careful because it has this step. I have to distribute a negative, so that's going to become a negative. This is a negative, so it becomes a positive. And then this one becomes a negative. What I essentially did was I distributed a negative 1. I times all those by negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite it so that we can kind of see it and it's a little more clear. This became a plus, and so it's a negative x squared plus 7x minus 2. And now I'm going to see what can go together. Again, I start with my biggest exponent, which is negative 2x squared. That's going to go with this one, which is a negative 1x squared. A negative 2 and a negative 1 is a negative 3x squared. And then I'm going to go to my x's, 3x and 7x. That's 10x. And then 5 minus 2, that's a positive 3. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to try 1 and 2. So I'd like you to try number 1, and when you think you have it, go ahead and press play. Okay, so you should have noticed I'd start with 5x squared. That's the only one there is, so I just write it. Now what sometimes I do is I'll lightly cross it off, and so then I go to the next one. So my next variable is a 3x and a 6x. Well, 3 plus 6 is a positive 9. And I'm kind of cross those off because I'm done with them. And then I'm left with negative 4. When we look at number 2, hopefully you recognize it's a negative, so you had to distribute the negative. So it actually becomes a plus negative x and a positive 3x because the negative 3x becomes positive. And so now you're going to distribute, not distribute, but you're going to combine. I got a 4x, a negative 1x, and a positive 3x. I like to take care of my positives first. 4 plus 3 is 7, minus 1 is 6. And so, so those three things are gone. So then I just bring down the minus 5. Okay, I'd like you to try 3 and 4 on your own, and when you think you have it, go ahead and press play. Well, 3 has that minus, so hopefully you changed your signs. And so I get negative 5x squared minus 8x plus x. I'm sorry, that's not an 8x. That should just be an 8. and then plus x, because I changed that one. Bring down the others. And now it's a plus in between. And so x squared and negative 5x squared, remember this is a 1x squared, that gives me negative 4x squared. Negative 3x and a positive 6 is a negative 2x. And then 5 and negative 8 is a negative 3. That's it. Okay, for number 4, my biggest exponent is x squared. So 1x squared and 2x squared is 3x squared. I'm going to cross those off because I'm done. Now I go to my x's, negative 3x and a positive 10x. That's a positive 7x. And then the last one, I'm going to do squigglies instead of 3 lines. A positive 5 and a positive 8 is a positive 13. And that's it. So we've done some things very similar. The big difference here is you have to make sure if it's a minus, you have to distribute the signs. And so you change all the signs in the parentheses after the minus.